This is Business Beyond the Game. I'm your host, Eric Jackson, and we're joined by a very special guest, budding entrepreneur and motocross star, Jett Lawrence. Jett, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Thank you. Super excited to be on the show. I'm doing really good so far. We're riding off a high with that, but no, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Jett, you're in the middle of a heck of a season right now. I think most would say you're a fan favorite in many ways, and riding for Team Honda. Jett, just how important is it just to have the right sponsors just behind you in a sport like this? Just that support.
It's a really big key in success. It may look like it is a solo sport, but then again, you got to have the right bike, you got to have a good mechanic. The team's got to be good behind you, and that's like just having a good bike. It's so many small pieces in the team that put the bike together and make it a good bike. So it's such an important thing. Even going through management with my manager Lucas, my dad's a big key of my success, and even my brother Hunter with racing, he's a big key. So it's just having a good foundation and a good just a good everything around it that makes it could succeed. It goes a long ways.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Jett, it's interesting, right? You hail all the way from small town, Landsborough, Australia. Like, is there a big motocross scene down under? Like, how did this just come about? Take us through a bit.
Um, it's definitely not to the level of this kind of over here in America. But yeah, we started this kind of riding like in the woods. My dad rode in the woods for fun. He had to sell his. He was a really big drag racing guy, and so when he first got married to my mum, he obviously back in the day when you marry someone, you have to kind of show that you have a house, that stuff after the wedding, that stuff. My dad had to get rid of his car to get a house, and him and his lads are like, dude, what are we gonna do now? Can't do that. So they end up getting the trail riding on the weekends, and my brother on the weekends would just go on the little Pee Wee 50, and then they end up just kind of seeing racing. And obviously, once I came around 4 years later, it was like, well, I want to do what my older brother's doing racing, so I just tagged along, and it's gone a lot further now, and it's pretty wild. But definitely back in the day, with how small it was, we definitely would have never thought it would be this big.
I know, and your brother, also a motocross talent, a teammate of yours. Just what's it like to have a family affair, if you will?
It's I would not want to do it any other way. It's awesome having to get to work and work with your brother on your side. If there's any brothers out there, I'd try and work as hard as you can to work together, because you have that family bond, that family trust, and you're both wanting the other person to succeed just as much as you want to succeed. So it's awesome, and my dad's a really big key, like I said earlier. So it's me, my brother, and my dad, and it's an awesome having both of them there.
I know, and what's interesting is it's like, the interest is expanding, right? But motocross is still a very niche sport, right? Like, what do you think it's going to take to make it just catapult it into the mainstream just more?
Um, I feel like Supercross definitely has a big chance of getting it a lot bigger. Just 'cause it's a lot easier going to a stadium, your local stadium, just like going and watching baseball. A lot of people watch
Right.
baseball or a football because it's easier going into a cleaner stadium, no dirt as such as. But outdoor motocross, you're going into the middle of nowhere. A lot of people, a lot of the true motocross fans go to outdoor races, but Supercross, yeah, it's just going to be trying to just be yourself, just try and get it out there as much as you can, really, and getting good deals with sponsors, getting to meet new people, new faces, always nice, and trying to get as many people to come to the race as much as you can.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, just with Supercross in general, right? You have Travis Pastrana and Ricky Carmichael, and, there's been a few, but not many have been able to really transcend the sport, Jett. Like, how much of that is a goal for you? Just outside of winning titles, right? How much have you just thought about your ultimate goal, right? Just overall.
It's funny you say it, because I like my very first year coming into over here, and once we finally got to America and was going pro, my like not like those the GOAT, obviously Ricky Carmichael, Travis Pastrana is probably one of the biggest kind of, I would say, dirt bike motorsport person everyone knows. Everyone knows Travis Pastrana, how crazy he is. So And obviously Ricky is for how many, he is the GOAT for a reason. He's won so many titles and races, and 2 undefeated seasons. But I think I definitely have a good opportunity, because obviously back then they didn't have as much social media, where thankfully now our generation, we can use Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You have a lot more, you can use your phones, your internet and that stuff a lot more, where back then it was more just a TV and that stuff. So, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, my first goal coming into the season was, and my long-term goal, you could say it was, when I first went pro, I was like, all right, I want to leave a big footprint on this sport of taking it to a different place that it's never been. We've been known as a gnarly sport, and it still is gnarly, but I want to take it to, because I feel like personally, I love watching like other football and baseball and seeing how they get broadcast, how many people know them. I'm like, gosh, those guys are super gnarly, but like it's 2 different sports, but I want our sport to be up there, because we're just doing as crazy things as they are. They're like a freak of nature, those football guys. I mean, they're built like no other, but our sport has their special kind, with how high we go in the air, how close. And I feel like in our sport, you don't really get as close as you do with footballers. You see them play, they go into their lockers and they're on their buses going to the airplane to go back to training or wherever they're going back to. With our sport, you get to see us up close with the tents, the bikes, and I feel like that's one of our big keys that's going to help us get a lot further and a lot bigger over the years. But I'm definitely trying as hard as I can to get as big as I can, because if I can leave this sport as when I retire bigger than it was when I came into it, I'll be happy.
Right, and like you said, right, just being more personal, storytelling, social media. There's an opportunity, right? That's
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think that's a great point. And I want to just get into going back to the entrepreneurship, as I mentioned in the intro. Let's talk donuts a little bit. Not only you are an avid donut fan, but you're also the owner of Jetson Donuts. How did your passion for fried dough turn into a legit business venture? How did that how did that come about?
It's so funny, because it never, how I got like kind of known for the donut thing and getting into the store, like the donut store, like when I first went pro, wasn't even like, it was not even in our mind. Like we never thought of it or anything. And me just being a fat boy underneath and loving food, I thank gosh I trained, because I think I'd be a lot bigger size I am now. But I've always loved donuts, and it goes back to when I first came over to America with Geico Honda. There was a person who worked there every Friday, so I'd always bring donuts in. Personally, I wasn't allowed to have them at all. Dazzy wasn't my dad. He didn't really want me to have him, but I was a kid. I was like 15, I think I was. I'm like, I will sneak one every now and then. And sadly, that person ended up leaving. And people bring in donuts every Friday, like every now and then. And then eventually it's kind of stopped. And I was kind of going to one of my big races, and I'm like, I was feeling good. It was first time racing supercross as an amateur, and I made a bet with our team manager. I'm like, all right, if I win, you have to have donuts right there after the race. And if I go 1-1, I'll eat it in the interview, or I'll eat it on the podium. I don't care. I just want to have my donut if I win.
Right. A bet's a bet.
Yeah, bet's a bet. And he sent a photo like 6 a.m. in the morning at a Dunkin' Donut place getting donuts, and he got them. And sure enough, I ended up going 1-1 and ate on the podium. And I offered to the interviewer if he wanted some. Even the guy who gave me number 1 plate, they didn't want any. Hopefully now they might have some of my donuts, and it just turned into such a big thing that we never really thought of, oh, this will be a great idea to try and get me out there as a donut kid, and blah, blah, blah. Just naturally kind of happened, and we got to meet some really good people, like my business partners at Jetson Donuts. They reached out, and kind of, we started going back and forth, and ended up going into a donut, like actually making a donut shop. And at first I'm like that's crazy. And same with Lucas, my manager. He was a big key in this, and it's like, dude, I've never really heard any athlete or in our sports say they have their own donut store. So we ended up going into that and making, I really badly want to make Australian type donuts, because I feel like there's something different of Australian donut to American donut. And
yeah,
we end up getting him pretty good. And since then, it's just been great. I mean, the people we've been working with is great. We have uh, great visions for the future, and making, instead of it just being because we could have easily just opened up a donut store on the side of a corner and just start selling donuts like that. But we want to, for this generation, a lot of the things nowadays is more of an experience. You see people
Right.
going to smooth milkshake places or smoothie places, and they have a spot where you get a photo. And it's like, oh, if I go there, I have to get that photo, put on my story. Like, it's a iconic thing. And one of my big goals with the Jetson Donuts since we've started is kind of having a store that's more of an experience. You want to go there. It's not just getting a donut. It's getting a donut, seeing either. I think we wanted to get like a VR, like kind of like racing a track or with my bike in there. Make it more of an experience for a person to go in there, not just for the food, just getting the food's good and having a great experience. So, and the people we've been working with has been awesome. They've came up with some awesome, great ideas, and so far it's been great. We have a lot more in the future coming, and that's like I said with we want to make an experience thing. Like, well, that's why our first store that we're opening up is going to be in New York Times Square. That's one of the biggest kind of social media things that you see. You see so many videos on TikTok of people in Times Square dancing or anything. We're trying to, hopefully that kind of goes a little bit into the Jetson
Yeah.
Donut store
I
and
thought it
get
was
some
gonna be
more people
so.
there.
I thought it was gonna be SoCal, huh? So it's gonna be Times Square. Is that?
Yep, that's where we kind of finally, we were going to do SoCal, but we ended up finally making our final decision going to, Times Square. We thought it was a good spot to really get it out there, and what not
Yeah.
better place to do it.
Wow, man, that's great. That's great. That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, for sure. And you're selling these at the races too, right? It's all part of the everything, right? That's
Yep, no, we sell them each weekend. We've done a lot of times, every now and then, we'll kind of do the donut sprinkles to what my gear is, or certain
wow.
things, and we
Yeah.
give away little rally towels with Jet 18 on it that, and each weekend they get, in one day they get sold out, and
Wow.
it's been very rare that I've had bad. It's always been positive comments about the donuts being good and stuff,
Yeah.
which always makes me happy, because anything that we go into, we give it 100%, and we want to give it 100% and get told that it is good. It's gonna say you give 100%. It's just like, and it ends up sucking. It's like, oh, that's a bummer, but no, it's been great. The people, the fans have been loving it, and it puts a smile on my face when I see other people smiling, eating my donuts. So no, it's been so great. I mean, we've been going to be selling at the last 3 rounds, at the two playoffs in the super motocross, and the final in the super motocross. So so far the season with supercross, it's gone great, and really excited for the last 3 ones in a month or so.
Yeah, Jet. I saw a photo of Dennis Rodman wearing a Jetson Donuts shirt. Like, how did that come about? Is he a brand ambassador? What? I wasn't expecting the worm to be a Jetson Donuts fan.
I personally, I'm in the same boat as you are. I have no idea till this day. He he's an awesome dude. I still can't believe he came out to that place. It was hot that day. It was one of the hottest rounds of the year. Um, and yeah, and I was amazed as well to see him at Jetson Donuts. I have really good friends. Like my manager. He's not just my manager. He's a good friend, family to me. Uh, he just knows people, and ended up getting him out, and it was an awesome experience. I mean, there's some I mean, they're great photos, but I look horrible in them because I'm like just absolutely just don't know what to say. I'm like, what? Like, so lost. So no, it was a wild thing seeing that, especially in wearing a Jetson donut shirt.
Yeah, and Jet, for you, you turned pro at 16, and you still have a long way to go in your own career. You're still very young, but I'm curious your thoughts on just some of the business lessons that you've learned in your career early on. If you can maybe share, something that stands out to you when, I asked that.
Um, Probably one of my biggest things, and I've been told this in anything that I do. It's not just being in business side of things, and I've been told this since I was a kid. Whatever you go into, don't just half do it. If you're gonna go do it properly. Do it. Go all the extent. Don't just go the shortcut way. Like I said with the Jetson donut thing. Don't just go the easy route and just chuck up a store on the corner and start selling donuts for a profit thing. I look into it as I want to make this an experience and make other people go, like, I would want to go into the store. Like, oh, this store looks sick. I want to go in there and get that experience. I want to make other people think the same thing. And only doing that is, you only get that in going in 100%. And obviously having the right crew around you helps with going in 100% also. So I'd be the one that's the biggest tip I would give is always give 100%, never less.
Yeah, 100%, right? Not trying to take shortcuts and just being, following through, right,
Exactly.
all the way. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Jed, I appreciate the time. There you have it, folks. Thank you for turning in to Business Beyond the Game. You heard it direct from the supercross star himself, the young bull. Jed, thanks for coming on, man. Good luck.
Nah, thank you so much for bringing me on. This is an awesome opportunity for me. It's awesome. I watch you guys' podcast. I love watching them and learning. So, nah, thanks for having me on, guys. Hopefully, in the future, I'm even higher in my business side of things, and we have another podcast with you guys. So, but nah, thanks a lot for having me on.